Welcome back, legends. I hope you're all amazing. On today's video, we've got the MOTHERLOAD from Crazy Tube Circuits on the bench, which combines a rat circuit, a big muff circuit, and a unique link EQ control to give you some hybrid modes between each of those classic distortion tones. What I want to do with this, though, is first let you hear the kind of difference in character between the big muff style circuit and the rat style circuit in a mix, very much inspired by some of the filthy tones of the early 90s grunge era. I'll give you a taste of one of the linked modes as well, and then we'll just kind of do a walkthrough of how I approached each tone on the pedal and how I would set up some of these unique hybrid modes on here. Let's hear it. So for that track, it was just this Buddy Guy Strat into the MOTHERLOAD, into the Synergy 800 module with the gain quite low, but not all the way down. Syn 5050 power amp, Fractal X load, and I just loaded up one of my own IRs in my DAW. It is linked in the video description if you want to grab that IR. Let's start out on the rat side of this circuit. So you've got the classic rat controls, namely, you've got a volume control, a gain control, and a filter control or a tone control on here. The muff side, when I flick this switch down, has the same volume and gain controls on here, but you've got tone and voicing. Voicing is kind of designed to sweep you between, I guess, different eras of big muff tones. We'll get to that in a second. Let's hear the rat side. I'm going to start with the gain quite low to start out with. I'll let you hear the clean sound. I just use a bridge pickup on this guitar for the whole thing. So we get this. You can hear by turning the volume control up there, I got more of, let's say, a classic early 80s rock metal style boost on there, but with the gain control up above noon, it sounds a lot more like a fuzz, and I can kind of tame some of that really harsh stuff by turning the filter control up. I guess the filter control on a rat. That's kind of some might say the wrong way around, but the idea is when you've got it low, you're just getting way more of the chaos coming through, and as you turn it up, you're attenuating those really spicy high frequencies on there. I'm just going to stay with the same settings on there and flick it down into the kind of big muff mode here. So we've got a tone control. The voicing control is really interesting here because you can kind of tailor this to the, I guess, the style of big muff you like. Very different creatures in there. As you heard in the mix, there's qualities of each that I quite like. I like the extended low end of the Muff style circuit. I like the way it feels under my fingers, but can get very harsh sounding in the high end very quickly. The Rat, I really like the kind of mid-range focus on it. I like that ability to attenuate the high frequencies easily with the filter. But as you heard in the mix, it just kind of lacks that absolute girth that you get out of the big Muff. So this is where the Link EQ comes in here. If I'm on the Muff style circuit, I can press the Link EQ in, and then I've got access to this Rat style filter control on there. So for example, this particular sound that I've got going on, what I can do is basically de-harsh it or take some of that harsh high end out. So let's have a listen to what that does. When I press this in, we're using the Link EQ. Is that you can kind of have the Muff tone control and the Rat filter interact with one another to give you something that neither classic circuit does. For example, if you turn the tone control down on the Muff, it gets really, really dark sounding. You can then bring the filter down on the Rat to compensate for that. Same thing happens. You turn the Muff tone control up, gets really, really harsh. You turn the Rat filter up to kind of take out some of that high end. So it plays around with the overall frequency content. You get some really interesting mids in there. And, you know, it's like the best of both worlds on there. This is a really simple and kind of unique concept that I really, really enjoy on here. I should have mentioned earlier as well, with the Muff tone, you notice that I probably didn't play too much around with the actual gain control on there. The thing about the Rat side that I like I mentioned earlier with a Marshall style amp, you can use it as a boost into the amp. With the Muff, it just hits saturation and then the overall volume control doesn't do too much. So, you know, it's that kind of Smashing Pumpkins era thing. If you've seen anything with Billy Corgan, where he talks about you get a Marshall, you set it kind of clean, and then you just set the amount of drive that you like and you bring up the Muff volume control until you hit the point where it just saturates and there's a sweet spot in there. So that's kind of what I tried to do. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to re-record that track and replay it, but with my favorite setting on here, which is basically the Muff side of the circuit, you know, the tone control and the voicing control, somewhere around noon. I'm going to use that Rat filter control to just get the high end where I like it. I mean, I could do that in post with some EQ to get those harsh frequencies out, but it kind of works better, in my opinion, tracking it that way. Basically, these settings on here, link EQ is in, use the filter control just to take out enough high end in there where it still sounds massive and you got that big Muff low end going on, but you don't have too much of the harsh stuff in there. A big thank you to Christos and the team at Crazy Tube Circuits for sending this one out to me to demo, and basically just saying, hey, kind of do whatever you want. If you want to do a mix track and just talk about a very specific tone, do that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Is this something that you would be interested in? I think this is going to go straight onto my main drive board. I've also got the Crazy Tube Circuit Superconductor on there, which is like 4 of my favorite clean boosts in one. It's awesome having 2 classic distortion circuits in one as well. Put more info in the video description. Here's the track with my favorite settings double tracked. Enjoy. Have a great day.